This Liberty Sports Update is brought to you by Beacon Credit Union.
Tell you what, don't ever take your health for granted. For sure, it's something that can it'll change your life quickly. So, thanks for coming today. It's obviously this is a big curveball for me, our staff, our kids, our university, and you'll wonder why some of those come at times. And certainly, I've spent a lot of time laying in a hospital bed, talking to God about those things. And whatever the reason is, I believe that we serve a God that loves us, and everything has a purpose. And so, I don't know exactly what the purpose is, whether it's to develop something in me, something in our coaches, something in our players. But whatever it is, I sure hope we take advantage of the opportunity to learn it. And, if I wasn't grateful enough to be back on the field, I assure you that you're talking to a man that misses it terribly and just can't wait to fully get back in it. But the administration here at Liberty University, a lot of people talk at other places about truly caring and truly being supportive, and this one, didn't just talk about things, from President Falwell, in a matter of minutes, helping us make decisions that, looking back, I truly thank God for that. It was a godsend that he had the connections, then he had the desire to help, and got us the best help possible, and he and his wife and their support has been just incredible. Then Ian is an incredible servant leader. What a great model he is, and he just wants to think long term, and what's best for the program today is you take care of yourself and get back. And I know that's disappointing to this administration is excited about the season just like we are, and here I am feeling like I can't give my best. And that's been the toughest challenge is I think I've led our staff extremely well even through this. But I don't feel like I've had the ability to lead our team the way I want to. I've always had an ability to make our team believe that they could compete on any given night with any given opponent. And I'm going to have a shorter time to do that. And that's been the biggest frustration to me is missing those kids, those guys, and helping prepare. And then you go to our IT department. I had no idea that it was possible to watch practice live and not be there. And the last 3 days, I've watched every practice, got on the radio, and, hey, get him on the radio and talk to him about the last drill and the last series of plays and what I saw. And so our people there, man, what a phenomenal team we have. And so, I'm just blown away by Liberty, and my family is too, and our staff is. We met in here this morning as a full staff, and, we're ready to go and get ready for Syracuse. And I don't know exactly what that's going to look like for me. On game day, I may have to be in the booth. I sure hope not. I hope I can talk the doctors into allowing me to be on the sideline. But we'll cross that bridge then. But very thankful and proud of our staff, how they've handled it. They haven't blinked, and they're the right guys for this time. And I think our kids are hungry to play, and can't wait. I've talked with many on the phone, but can't wait to see them as a whole unit very, very soon. Yes, sir.
Coach, talk just a little bit about what have you heard from your team in terms of support and just calling in. You said you talked to someone on the phone. What have they said to you? Because I know they're itching for you to be back on that sideline.
Yeah, most of them are by text, and it's our theme this year was tougher together. And I can't remember all the words that they would say, but it would always end with, "This will make us tougher together," because that's what we've preached to them all spring and all fall camp. And I think I've heard from probably 90% of them via text, some phone calls, but they've been the most encouraging group, and that makes me desire to be with them even more. I feel good. Everything except for I slept, did not wake up a time last night, didn't take any medicines or anything. It's what's there is something when I walk. There's still a catch in the lower back that makes it unstable a little bit. Everything else I feel great. And he told me, the docs told me it was, this normal surgery was probably the way they do it these days. Dr. Elagala is the best. He's on the cutting edge of fixing back things. But he said he normally would be a 4-day deal before you be up and walking. He says yours is very, very complicated because it had such, with the staph bacteria that attacked that area. He said there was so much infection in that bone and in that joint that yours is going to be a bit more complicated. Barry has we work like crazy on therapy. I'm a workaholic at it. If he'll just come, I'm doing everything he says. We walked up and down the hall today 3 times with no pain. So I got to get to where I feel very confident that I don't need a walker or anything. It's only when I'm really walking that and sitting for long times gets it stiff. But other than that, I feel like we're in good shape.
Any back trouble before this?
Well, I had a surgery 20 years ago, but nothing. I think I've always kind of had a tightness in my. Listen, I played almost 100 rounds of golf from January to the end of July, literally, because I put them all in my GIN number to see what my handicap is, and had no problem at all. And I think I probably had some type of a herniation. He believes that maybe would have hurt me enough to do something, or maybe not. He said, but once the infection got in there, it was no doubt you were going to feel it. And so I thank God that it didn't last any longer. That type of infection, if it got to your heart or to your brain, we're talking a whole nother battle then. And so think how in the world I got the bacteria of staph in my bloodstream, I have no idea. And they don't either. It had to enter either through a shot that I had at some point or an open cut that you had. So it's I really have no idea how that occurred, but it did, and glad they caught it. He is thinking that Sunday he will allow me to be there, at least in a golf cart. I'm gonna have a phone call with him this afternoon because I think I need to be there tomorrow night doing the same thing for the mock game. So I'm gonna see what he says. I'll ask him that tonight. But that was his original thought.
Coach, you've been through a lot the last few weeks, and now you got game week staring you in the face. How do you avoid putting too much into trying to get back? I know you're itching to get back on the field,
Yep.
but how do you avoid overdoing it to get back?
That is a very tough challenge, and everyone around me, including Ian and the doctors, just say, you've got to think long term. You got to make sure that you're not going to set yourself back by trying to do too much. And I know there's great wisdom in that, and I hopefully will adhere to that and not try to push it too much. I think, we've done some good things this week in preparing for Syracuse that I think we're a little ahead of the curve in our preparation. So hopefully me being able to, I'll have to pick and choose what I think is the real important things for next week for me to be sure I'm at and attending and conveying to the players. So I think that is the challenge, but we're going to keep that in our mind. I promise you. I'm at an age now where I know I need to think long term. But it's not easy.
Coach, you've been out of the game the last 2 years, and you talked about how much you missed it. Have these last 2 weeks kind of re-triggered those emotions?
Very much so. I was just on a radio interview, and I really, I'm at a point, and even this has made it even more, but I'm at a point where, I've seen the highs of college football, and I've experienced some lows too, and we all do. We have highs and lows in life. We have highs and lows in our profession. I remember standing at the Sugar Bowl with my dad and Archie Manning, and that was like a euphoric moment. And I've also experienced the valleys of that too. And when I look back over the last few years and you think about, the things that you're not happy with or the things you would like to change, one of those is evident to me is I truly want to be at this point of my life where it's really about others. And whether it's our kids, our players, our staff, the university, you just, what, when you get to be about a kingdom of self, it's never good. And, the last 2 weeks has just restirred that, and it's really about, I want it to be about others. And I think that when that's your motivation, I think great things happen, regardless of what the scoreboard says. It might be a kid graduating. It might be, a kid making a play that he never thought he could make. It may be a coach that had to branch out and expand himself because of a situation that came that he became better than he ever thought he could be. So whatever the circumstances that come to us, whether they're self-inflicted or whether they're Savior allowed, or however you want to put it, that come into your life, just may the motivation, may it be about others. And that's kind of what the last 2.5 years has just brought, that desire. So that's my motivation, and that's probably why it bothers me so much that I'm not preparing the kids.
Coach, you, I'm sure, heard all about the family atmosphere that exists at Liberty and how Liberty's a different place when you came here, and even experienced it the first few. But going through something like this, where it's so personal, has it added to or changed that perception at all?
It's just it's enhanced it. It's again, it's not just talk. It's genuine. It's real. I heard my daughter say the other night that I don't know if we've been in a place that would have done all of this. And so it's not just me that sees it, and that means a lot to me that my daughters see this is what, when you talk about building champions for Christ, one of the first things that it should be taught is compassion. And, each of us can show it in different ways because all of us have different resources, different means, different connections, but all of us have that, and Liberty certainly showed that to me.
How different is it for you watching a practice from afar versus being there? And what different perspective do you have when you're not there versus being here?
It's different, of course, but I tell you, I'm so excited just to watch it, now, and to see it live that I'm getting plenty out of it. I'm making note after note after note, and then when I got through those practices, I have the whole system up there, and I flip over to Syracuse PN10. So we just worked on our PN10 calls. I made all my notes. Then we just worked on our third and mid 3 to 5s. I made all my notes. I have the plays that we just ran. Then I flipped to the cut-ups of Syracuse 3rd and 5 defense or offense, and I'm like, I don't see it. So then the coaches come up here after, and we have meetings last night, and I go down, why are we saying this is a good play? I just watched all their 3rd and 3 to 5s. I don't like that one. I love the rest of them, or, that's the conversations we're having. And so in some ways, I think I'm getting a lot out of it because I've never quite done it that way, but now I have so much time that and I get to make all those notes on the 16 PN10s we just called. And then I get to go right away and flip on, all right, here's their PN10s, and all right, do I like this call? And I got it sorted by the stats, so I know kind of what they do most of the time. So it's been really good for me to do that. I think our plan is going to be really solid and really good, and I think this helps it. But certainly, it's not like being out there.
So it's more instantaneous. You're able to review what you just did versus what's
I am.
compared to being on the field and
Yep. I make all my notes, and then the coaches take about an hour to shower and eat before they get up here. And I've already watched. I've gone back and watched the other stuff and how I think what we had on the call sheet there. How would it work? And I have to look at it not against just, but I usually take their top 3 looks. So how would this play work against the top 3? Well, I like it against the first look, but I hate it if we get this or this. So that play to me goes down a little bit. All right, third and 5. Here's their top 3 things. I like this one against 1. I like this one against 2. I like it against 3. We need to call that one. That one needs to move up the chart a little bit. So that's kind of how the last 3 days have gone.
Based on what you've seen the last couple of days, how pleased are you with what your staff's been able to get accomplished over the last few weeks?
Couldn't be more pleased. Couldn't be more pleased in the chemistry, the work, the desire. They want to compete, and I couldn't be more pleased.
Coach, when you do get back to practice, whether it's tomorrow night or Sunday, how emotional is that going to be for you to see your players to return back to the field?
I don't know. That's sitting here right now. I don't. I hope it's just full of joy for me, and I don't think it's going to be a big. I hope it's not a big to do of. I hope we celebrate each other, and that's what we should do as brothers, and then it's battle together and love on each other, and then go to work. That's kind of how I hope it goes.
Do you have a timetable for how long you have to be in a back brace?
I don't. I hadn't asked him that. I know that this brace is on because that affection made the area around that holds the disc very mushy. I think it was the word he used, and so he wants this brace to stay on to get it formed back hard.
Have you ever coached from the box before?
Have not.
Not even when you're an offensive coordinator at Rutgers?
Or at Arkansas State. No.
You talk to any coaches about what it's like working in the box?
That's a good thing. I probably need to do that. I haven't, but we got to work through that one a little bit.